Hi everybody, I'm Gina Gomez, and I'm so excited to be spending the next hour with you talking about the upcoming Ms.termind Mastermind program that starts in January. So what we're going to do for the next hour, just to give you the rundown, is I'm going to introduce a panel of people. Part of them are going to be part of the changes you'll hear about as far in formatting for the Mastermind program and how they'll be joining the team. And then you'll also get to hear from people who are actively participating in the Mastermind program as well. Once we get through introductions, we're going to open it up for some questions where I'll interview our guests today, give you an opportunity to ask some questions as well, but also, and this part I'm really excited about, is we're going to do a mini live mastermind session with somebody who's on the call. So if you would like to be considered for that, please go ahead and put your name in the chat box, and we'll make sure that that we don't call out anybody who doesn't want to be included in the mastermind experience, because I'm not into putting people on the spot. So with that, let's roll into it, and I will give you all the details on the mastermind as well. So let's start with Lisa Greer. So Lisa is a digital producer and online strategist. She's also a Ms.termind Mastermind OG, as we say in the group, which is part of the original group. She's also the magician behind all things GinaGomez.com and part of the Mastermind team. I, honest to God, couldn't do half of the things in my business without Lisa. And part of me wants everyone to hire her, and part of me wants to keep her all to myself. So I came up with a happy compromise. So Lisa, why don't you tell people how you'll be working with the Mastermind participants starting in January?
Well, I'm super excited to be part of the Ms.termind team because when I joined the group earlier this year, it was because I was seeking a community. And so the fact that I get to give back to this community is super exciting. I'm all about implementation and planning and actually taking plans and implementing them and making sure that they actually get produced in a way. So I will be helping you guys 100% with implementation. So as you're learning these new things and as you're growing within the community and within your business throughout the course of the program, you'll inevitably want to start putting the things that you learned into action, and that's where I'll come in, because we all can use a little support every now and then. So I'll be like a really great bra.
I love it. Thanks, Lisa. So Stacy Casimir, so very Stacy. For the love of all things copy, you're so good at what you do, and you've worked on email campaigns, social media plans, content, strategy, websites, and the list goes on and on. So you have a knack. This is one of the things I love so much about everything that you do. You have such a knack of getting people to engage with the things that you create and picking up on other people's voices. What's a good tip that you can share with us on how to increase engagement? Oh, I see her talking. I see her talking, but I don't hear her. So here's what we'll do. Nope, can't hear. I see your mouth. So here's what I'll do. I'll come back to you.
I noticed she has her headphones in.
Uh-huh.
She didn't have them in earlier. Maybe that's part of... No, it's not.
I think she's in a timeout.
She was talking earlier.
Okay, I'll come back to you. So let's move on to Lisa Fioravante. So Lisa, you help people launch their hearts out, and your clients love you. And I suspect it has something to do with, aside from your amazingness, but your philosophy, which is to find the right combination of tools, team, and tactics for their business. So what's the key to a successful launch?
Thanks, Gina. So it's really what you just said. Because there's no one-size-fits-all, the key to a successful launch is to use the right tools, team, and tactics for your business. So I always apply my favorite quote to launching, which is start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. And the last thing I'll say is to do everything with love and always listen to your intuition throughout your launch. So if something doesn't feel right, pull back and reassess and do something different.
Oh, that's a great tip. So here's my bonus question for you. What's your favorite launch tool? Do you have one?
I do. I think no matter where you are in your business, whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned entrepreneur, always get some sort of project management system in place that will allow you to sort of outline all the steps you need to take. My favorite is Teamwork. I know there's a few out there. There's Asana, Basecamp, a bunch of different ones. I love teamwork, but regardless, get project management software in place for your launch.
Got it. Great. Okay, let's see. Stacy, are you back with us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, so let's go back to you. So we talked about how you have such a knack for picking up on other people's voices when you're helping them create copy, but also engaging readers. So what's a good tip that you can share with us on how to increase engagement?
It's very simple. It's sort of a 3-point answer. Be authentic. Talk to me just how you're talking to me right now. So that's how you're going to write your copy, and always include sort of a call to action. When you're having a conversation, you're having a conversation and you're there to learn about that person and leave your mark. So ask a question at the end, but don't ask a question in a salesy way. Ask a question as in, what do you think about that? Or, I feel this way, how do you feel? Or, isn't that crazy? And just get the conversation going. And getting the conversation going, I think, is the most authentic and genuine way to have a conversation, whether it's about your brand or your product or your service, with your audience.
I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Marcy Morrow. So Marcy is a mindset expert, intuitive fireball, B-School grad, Mastermind alumni, and part of the Mastermind team. So, and I'm so excited for people to get to work with you because I've been lucky enough to witness your genius for the past several months, and I know how much people are going to benefit from working with you. So can you tell the participants or people a little bit about your role and how you'll be working with the participants in January?
Absolutely. I'm really excited. When Gina and I talked about me possibly joining Team G, we were really taking stock, and I haven't gone through the mastermind myself. I kept seeing situations where, as all of us, as we're growing our businesses, we kind of reach, in the field we say upper limits, right, where we hit a stuck point or we get a block and we're procrastinating and not taking action. And my take on that is that when that comes up, it's really fear standing in the way of where that person's trying to go in their business. So it's just disguising itself as procrastination and whatnot. So where I'm going to help out with the mastermind is helping people bust through those blocks, because when you join this mastermind, you will be growing your business and you will be growing yourself, and we're going to try and keep both of those leadership roles within yourself kind of up to speed and on board with each other. So you grow your business, you can grow yourself. You grow your business, and you can grow yourself. So I'll be delivering, I'm so excited, 2 private sessions to each of the mastermind participants. So what that'll look like is basically use them when you need them most. And so people will get the opportunity to work with me one-on-one, as it's built into the program, really get support with those kind of limiting beliefs and mindset issues to help them get unstuck when they need it.
Excellent. Yeah, and I'm really excited because, because I've done the mastermind enough times now where I can pick up on the patterns and predict some of the things that are going to come up. And in fact, in the first session of every round, I talk about how if you're doing your part and doing the work, that your stuff is going to come up. That's perfectly normal. It's natural. And if you're really committed and really doing your stuff, doing the work, your stuff is really going to come up.
Really, really going to come up. Yeah.
Right. And so I can tell because of the cycle when that happens. There's a very specific time where people have blocks come up, and it shows up on 3 different months. So Marcy will be accessible so that you can have those private sessions to bust through what's coming up, but then you also get a private midpoint check-in session with me so that we make sure that you're staying on track with the goals and that you're getting the progress and the results that you're really looking to get. The way that I like to coach with people and work with people is I look at their business as if it's my business, and in my business, I like to make money. So I'm always looking at things from a revenue point of view, but the truth is, if your head isn't in the right space, and there are some blocks there, it doesn't matter what I teach you, it's hard for you to get the results. So that's why it's so important that we spend a good amount of time focusing on what's really going on beneath all of that. So when you start implementing those strategies, you are consistently getting results, and that includes in your bank account. So let's roll into some of the questions. And again, if you'd like to participate in the live mastermind experience, go ahead and put your name in, and we'll make sure that we've got you in there. So I thought what we do is just have an honest conversation about what we've all learned from the mastermind and being in the program. So let's talk about girl groups, because it's mostly female entrepreneurs who've been a part of the mastermind experience, which I think makes us unique. And nothing against men. We love men and would love to have men in the group. But the way that it's worked well for us is that we have had the majority be girl groups. So tell me, and I'll start with anybody who wants to jump in. Tell me a little bit about, like, what's your favorite thing about the groups that you've worked with? Let's start with Marcy.
My favorite thing is feeling like I had a professional cuddle group, is the term that I like to refer to, within the foursome that we had. I loved that the mastermind sessions were in the small groups of 4, because I've participated in masterminds in the past where there's 10, 15 people, and you're lucky to get a word in edgewise. So I felt like we all kind of had a hand in every single week that we met to really help each other. And then to have the collaborative support of the larger group in the Facebook group, it was just awesome. Like, I felt like I had so much perspective anytime I posted about something and could give lots of feedback. And I loved especially that there were people from all walks of business in there, from product-based to service-based. And Gina, I think you really draw a nice crowd of, not just we're all coaches or, everybody's doing the same thing. And that was really what drew me in to work with you, period, was because I was in some transition points with my business, and you were just like, okay, wherever we're at, we're going to move forward, and like you weren't trying to fit me into a box. And that was, I felt like, the real value to get that from both you and from the participants.
Oh, well, thank you. And I love that you said that about, meeting you where you were and talking, because this isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. I think a lot of times what happens is we think that because one method works for one business, that it applies to all businesses. But the truth is, I learned this through many, many years in corporate America throughout my career path and with different clients and businesses that I've worked with, that you really have to meet the client where they are, but also understand that not every business is the same, and not every business has the same business goals or challenges. And when you don't have that in mind and you don't customize it, it's really hard to get people to a place where they get the results where they feel satisfied. So I'd love that you brought that up, because it's a great point.
Yeah, I let the others talk, but I just wanted to say, you said it's customized, and like that hit the nail on the head. I really felt like every single person in the program had a customized experience, but in a group setting. And I think you really, really delivered what you just said. So I just wanted to note that to everybody who's watching.
Thanks. How about you, Lisa Fioravante?
Yeah, I would definitely say the people and the fact that you customize. So the people, I think that you just do such a great job in sort of choosing people who, like you said, they're in different industries. I mean, I've been in groups in the past where it felt like everybody was just coming from the same perspective, and it's nice to know that there's somebody who's doing everything from, you've got people doing health and wellness to business strategy to copywriting. Everybody just has something different to offer. And I also just love how you customize. I mean, a week sticks out in my head. There was just a couple weeks ago, we were all sort of going through this fear. Everybody was on the topic of fear and resistance. And so you were just like, okay, this week I noticed that this is what everybody's experiencing. So today, this is what we're going to talk about, because I want to address this and I want you to feel heard. And so I think you do a really good job at paying attention and not just sticking to, this is the topic, this is what we need to do today. You just know how to listen and make people feel heard and to really just address that and help us meet us where we are.
Thank you. Thanks. And I think it's great to share that with people who are watching the video or who are here live on the call, because that is a big part of it. What I found was if I keep going, I can keep going to follow the syllabus or the course outline, and that's great. But if there are blocks coming up, again, it's like trying to throw a rug over a dirty floor. It's like it's still there, even though it's mass, it's still there. So that's part of why we do that. Where sometimes if I notice that there's blocks coming up or there's patterns, because I will pay attention to what you guys are posting and what comes up in the calls. In that case, then we definitely want to make sure that we scrap the lesson and work on what needs to be worked on, so that way you guys can be consistently getting results, because that's the most important thing. How about you, Stacy? What's your favorite part of the group?
I want to piggyback sort of on what Lisa Fioravante said, in that you're listening to everybody and you're hearing everybody, and the way that you assemble these groups that's my favorite part, because there's somebody in my group. So I'm in a group with 3 other women, and they all are dealing with something that I can relate to, that I need to learn from. It's not my issue per se, but I'm learning from that. And then also, like I said, like what Lisa said, but you said, okay, we're going to bring this up today, and this is what we're going to talk about, because we all have this fear and we all have this issue, so how are we going to get through it? And then you get to sort of listen to how everybody deals with it differently, and everybody's in a different business than I am. They're not all copywriters, so it's very nice and eye-opening to see how I can solve my issues, but also be aware how other people are dealing with theirs, and they at one point could be my clients, or it gives me a more understanding of everybody that I work with and the way that you model the groups and handle the groups and get us through our blocks.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And how about you, Lisa?
My favorite part is, one of my favorite parts is the accountability buddy. I don't know why, but I'm like I feel bad if I let that person down. So we set these goals, they're just what are you going to have done for next week, and I'm going to try to have this done, and I'll try to have that done. But it's almost like it helped push me to get things accomplished. I felt like if I didn't have something to report back to her, I was letting her down in some way, and she gave me such valuable feedback. And then, of course, the Facebook group as well. It wasn't just, so I'm like taking a different perspective. It wasn't that the sessions weren't great. The sessions were awesome. But I also liked the other parts of the program, which were the community. Of course, being that I came originally for that, and I just happened to fall in love with you, Gina.
I much like you, I love the community, and the reason why I love the community is because you guys hear me say this all the time, but I say it because it's true. I feel like we have such a good group of people, and consistently every enrollment we get good, strong people who are very supportive. There's something very special that goes on in that group that's different than what I see in, and not to say that it's better or than other groups, but it's different. And the level of support that comes in and the intimacy, because it's still small enough where we have, relationships where everybody gets to know each other. I think that adds to that, but also the activity, that people really participate in that, and that we do fun things to help you get results in business that don't feel business related, but there's always an underlying lesson that relates back to business. I just don't tell you guys until later.
I have to actually throw in something on that, because when you're talking about a fun thing that is, that you do to get people over a hump or something, I will readily admit I do not like video. And it took the entire mastermind. It was literally the last week of the mastermind. It was my last accountability call, it was everything. And you were playing a game in the Facebook group, which was the 2 truths and a lie, but the answer had to come in the form of a video. And I had all this resistance on video, and I forced myself to, because everybody was like, where's your answer? Where's your answer? And I had no choice. I had to do my answer. So the day that I shot that answer was the day I knocked out all of my videos for my opt-in. I mean, I had to push myself. But I did it, and I promise you, if it had not been for the group, I would still be sitting on my opt-in waiting for it to kind of produce itself, I guess, because I hate video.
And I get that, because again, it brings up all of our stuff, right? Some people have a harder time with video because we start nitpicking all the things that we do when we're standing in front of a mirror that we would never do to anybody else, but somehow we think it's okay to do to ourselves. And it's interesting that you said that, because I was talking to another mastermind participant who's actively going through the program right now. I was talking to her this morning, and we were talking about, she didn't even have a Facebook account set up. She was not a Facebook person at all. And since she had started the mastermind, she's set up her Facebook account, She's launched her first offering. She has people enrolled. She has a Facebook community now. And she's doing videos. She had never done a video. Now she does videos, like every other minute, because she has found a knack for it and a talent, but also the results and the responsiveness from her clients and the people who are following her. So I love that, because if we can take away all of the stuff that flips us out, and I'm one of those people that, flips us out, and really get into the fun, we realize how much more we can do. And I'm a strong, strong believer that, we've all made choices to build the careers that we've chosen. And part of that was because we decided we wanted to do something that was meaningful, something that was fun, something that made a difference. So you're going to spend a lot of time working at it, just like, like we did for those of us who were in corporate jobs or full-time jobs working for other people. But if you're not having fun, what's the point? Amen. I mean, that's just how I feel. I feel really strongly about that. So that's why we try to integrate as much fun as we can. But that doesn't mean that it's all a joke and that we're just having fun and not getting results. It still has to translate to results. So let's talk about the details of the program, and then we'll get back into some more questions. And again, if you're just joining, if you'd like to be part of the live mastermind experience, let us know in the chat box. No pressure. We're not going to call your name. If you're feeling shy, totally get it. But let me give you the details on the format, because things have changed since the last few rounds, where we've added some enhancements that I'm super, super excited about, because I think the participants are really going to benefit from not just the process of these enhancements, but the whole experience overall. So the format is there are 4 people max per group, so we do foursomes. And each person has an accountability partner. Sometimes the accountability partner is within the foursome. Oftentimes it's within the group, just depending on what we get for enrollment. The schedule works this way, and then each person is in the hot seat, so to speak. We call it taking center stage, but we usually end up calling it the hot seat because it's the same thing, where you have an opportunity to talk about what's going on in your business, and then we mastermind for about 30 minutes to talk about what your challenge is or the need that you're trying to solve. So that way, by the time you hang up, you have an actionable plan that you can implement over the next 4 weeks, including having time with Marcy if you need that, including having time with Lisa if you need that for implementation. So by the next month, when you're back in the hot seat, you're ready to take the next step, or you already have taken next steps, and now you've got a new need to solve. So you've got some consistency throughout that, and then you have access to your accountability partner, you have access to me, and then, of course, the Facebook community. The schedule runs like this. So weeks 1 and 3 are the same. So the first week, there's a lesson, and someone's in the hot seat. The second week, it's 2 people in the hot seat, no lesson. And the reason why I did it this way is because when I went through, and I'm just going to be really honest, when I went through the first round with the original group, it was great because we had a lot of lessons, a lot of really good content, and I kept thinking, I got to give them more information, I got to give them more information. And when I sent out the feedback surveys at the end of the program, the feedback that I got consistently was, we love the lessons, but what we really would like is more time to implement. So that's why we've changed some things. So the format's the same. The amount that you'll be learning is still the same, but we're structuring it differently so that you have time to implement. So that's why there's no lesson the second week. The third week, same as the first, a lesson and a hot seat session. And then the fourth week is an implementation week, and that's where you have the monthly hangout with Lisa, where you can ask your questions about how to implement things, digital strategy, and things like that. Private sessions. So we talked about that earlier. You'll have 2 private sessions with Marcy that can be booked as needed. We'll set you up so that you know how to do all of that. And then you'll have a midpoint check-in with me. The midpoint check-in is a one-on-one call that I do with each person. And the reason why I do this is because it's important to me that at the end of the program, you walk away feeling like it was a good investment of your time and money. So what we do is we set a goal. We'll do a goal at the beginning, but then midpoint, we look at another goal of what's it going to take for you to walk away feeling satisfied and like you made the right decision at the end of the program. And then I follow up with you to make sure you're on track to meet that goal.
She really does. I have to jump in. You really do.
I do.
But you follow through.
Because I want you guys to get results. Here's the thing. When clients get results, it's not about like me looking good. It has nothing to do with me. Watching you guys get the results and seeing how empowered you are and realizing, I can really do this. To me, that is priceless, because what it does is it gives you the confidence to keep going and to keep building and to keep growing financially too, which is what you want. Excuse me. Okay, the cost. So the cost is $2,500. I think we put 2,447 or something like 2,449, something like that. But it's basically $2,500 if paid in full, or 6 payments of $447. There are no additional buy-ups or anything like that, so the cost is the cost. And then meeting times are Tuesdays. Right now what we're looking at is Tuesdays at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, or 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific Time. And then 12:30 Eastern Time on Tuesday afternoons, and then Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So when those spots are filled, those spots will be filled, and so it depends on availability. And I will say this, and I'm not saying this just to say it, it's because it's the truth. Every round, the program does sell out, so it's better for you to book sooner rather than later, because I only have so many hours in the day, so I'm limited with the number of people, and I want to make sure that I have enough time to give everybody the individual attention. What we are doing, or what I am doing this week for, so I'll just tease it out and tell you guys now, not even tease, I'm just going to tell you. One of the things that I found people really enjoy but also find helpful is before they start the program, they will ask for a private session. And the reason they do that is it helps them get their ducks in a row to look at what they're really trying to accomplish and how they want to experience the mastermind over the next 6 months. I've also done strategy sessions the last couple of months with clients, private clients, and people in the mastermind who are asking for planning sessions. Typically, I charge $500 for an hour-long session, but if you sign up by Friday at noon Pacific Time, so 3 o'clock Eastern Time, I will gift you a private session that you can use either as a strategy call, or you can use it as a private session in addition to the 3-month check-in during your participation in the mastermind.
So worth it. So worth it.
Yeah, you did a planning session. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Midway, yes, I love my one-on-one time with Gina.
Well, thanks. And was there anything that stood out from the session or sessions that made it worthwhile for you, or what would you tell somebody who was thinking about it?
I always I love the mastermind. I always just find it so helpful to just have that personal one-on-one time with you. And even before the private sessions, I still know that you do your due diligence. Like, you know what we're doing in our business. You know what we need to be working on. But I just love that personalized feedback from you, and just knowing that I have an hour to pick your brain. Like, you know your stuff. And I just feel so taken care of during that hour. It's just I go into it and I just feel like I come out of it like I just feel like my head's back on straight. So. Oh,
good. Good.
Well, that's just a feeling.
And
of course, like we get into numbers and all of that, but yeah, I just leave it feeling very taken care of.
Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So let's do this. I'm watching time, so I want to make sure that we have enough time to do some mastermind, but also to give people an opportunity to ask questions. So let's do it let's do it a couple of different ways. One is, if you have a question, go ahead and add it into the queue. We'll make sure that we get your question answered. And then last call for anybody who wants to participate in the live experience. It's a quiet group. People tend to be a little bit shy, so if you want to just observe, totally fine, but this is your last call to participate. So while I'm giving people a chance to type in their questions and raise their hand or wave or do whatever they want to do, let me ask one more question, then we'll move into Mastermind and some Q&A and go back and forth between some of the other questions. So each of you are where our viewers were at one point, before you started the mastermind, so presented with an opportunity to join this program. What were some of your concerns about joining the mastermind, and what happened to those concerns once you signed up? So let's.
Stacey, I was at a point in my business where I was rolling over some clients, and I was terrified of girl groups. I very honestly wanted nothing to do with all girls in a group, and I was concerned about being able to pay the enrollment because I wanted to pay it for my business, right? So we had a conversation. I literally watched this video or your hangout the last time you did the enrollment, and it was just the results that the people that I knew were getting in their business. It was a no-brainer. Why wouldn't I do that? And then I had, again, that fear the first couple of weeks. I was in the hot seat right away, like my very first mastermind, and immediately stuff started happening. I have a client agreement, and then I had more retainer clients, and it just, the girl groups weren't the girl groups of my past that were scary and catty. They're great and supportive and exciting and inspiring. And just like everyone is saying, you show up for us. Like, Gina, like, you know what everybody is doing and what they need to be doing. It's not just like, hey, let's hang out and talk some business. It's, okay, why haven't you done this? And you said you're going to do this, so what's the reason? Not in a pushy way, but what's the reason that you haven't figured this out? So, and you offer the help and you're responsive. I can email you and say, oh my gosh, what about this? And you just sort of weed it out and say, try that. So the whole experience, the group, the money that I've been being able to make since I started the mastermind, everything, all of my fears just dissolved. And I'm so, so happy that I joined.
Ah, well, I'm so happy that you joined too. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else want to add anything before we shift into a little bit of masterminding?
I'll jump in. When I first heard about your mastermind, it was like pre-launching, the original group, and one of my friends who had been working with you called me up and said, do you want to be in a mastermind with me? You got to hear the details. And she told me everything that I was going to be getting for the investment, and I was just like, oh my God. And I know we all keep saying, like, no-brainer, no-brainer, but I've participated in a very high-end mastermind in the past, and, you know, not that, I mean, it's just a totally different experience. And I told you this all the way through, Gina, like, I cannot believe how much you are pampering us with your attention, and your, just the whole experience was dramatically different. And I think for what the people who are watching and are interested in your mastermind, to have the weekly support from both you and I've got so many things that try to come out of my mouth right now. But with you and with Lisa and private time with me, like having the accessibility with you and to all of us, and it's not like, oh, you guys are in the Facebook group together and I'll pop in, I meaning me, Lisa, Gina, you know, whenever, like, we're there. Like, you have access to constant support, not just from your peers and group members, but also for people who are actively leading the entire 6-month experience for you. And I just think it's the value is, you will not find anything like it out there. I can tell you that, because I've looked in the past, I've done it in the past. Like, you will not find this out there. And I just feel so passionate, obviously, because I joined after going through it. I joined the team. That I dare you to try and find something even close to this.
It's a really, really fun program. I love it because I get to work with all of you, and then, you know, obviously more people who aren't with us today. And it's so much fun for me. So that makes it really easy for me to want to spend more time in the group and with you guys one-on-one. And, you know, we had the Thanksgiving holiday where it was quiet, and I was like, where is everybody? You know, because I'm so used to it, and I definitely felt the letdown, like, after the first round wrapped up, and we've got, you know, another one wrapping up in January. So I definitely get attached to all of you. So let's shake it up a little bit. Let's shift into a little bit of masterminding. So you guys didn't know that we were going to do this part, so I'm going to switch a little bit, because we do have people on the call, but people tend to be a little quiet, so I want to give them an opportunity to witness and to view how the mastermind part works, and if they're not up for participating, totally want to respect that. So here's what we're going to do to make it a little bit different. I am going to put myself in the hot seat and give you guys a little, like an issue or something that I would like to get some feedback on, and I'm going to turn it over to you guys and let you guys start masterminding with me. So So here's my thing. So I am a business coach, and one of the things that I have not paid a lot of attention to, and I'll tell you why in a second, is my list. And here's why. I have a decent sized list. It's not huge, but I have a decent sized list. The reason why I don't spend a lot of time growing the list is because my list consistently converts. So that makes me super excited. But once that list continues to convert and that list gets saturated, then I need new people, right? So we want to have people who are also looking for a business coach, and if I'm the right person and I have offers that match up with them, I certainly want to be able to meet their needs. So what are some things that I can do to help use my list in a way where A, I can grow it, but B, I can consistently get it to convert?
I have some thoughts.
I love watching all your faces.
So a lot of people have this love-hate relationship with email marketing because we either love getting the emails or we loathe getting the emails, and we stick them in a little filter. But the reality is that that's really how you have it's an opening conversation with someone. And your original question about your list, you have certain funnels that have built up the list that you have right now. But any of those means you have to think of as a net being cast off of your ship. And the more nets you have cast out in the water, the more fish you're going to catch. It's also about the quality of the fish that you're catching. So that depends on where you're steering your boat and making sure that the boat is in the right water to catch the right fish. And I'm using a lot of metaphors right now that have to do with fishing. I'm not sure why. But that's really what it is. For a long time I've been thinking about this whole email marketing scenario, and everything that you do in your business, your website, your opt-in offerings, the free content you have, the not so free content you have, everything to do with your website is the nucleus of your business. It's the core. It's everything that you represent. It's what you give to the world. It's how you serve people. And if there isn't a lot there, meaning if there isn't a lot of free content, then how can people get to know you? But then if there's too much free content, you're not getting the bills paid. There's sort of like this balance, right, that has to happen. I always talk to people whenever they're getting ready to embark on any kind of marketing project to make sure that they are making sure that this net that they're about to cast is the most targeted net possible. So think about your marketing in this sense of circles, okay? So you're going to have this big exterior circle, and then you're going to have a middle circle, and then you're going to have the nucleus. And the nucleus is your paid offerings, the way that you make the money, what basically covers your bills. And then the exterior would be maybe one that's not so expensive, maybe some under like $100, and then the exterior is your free stuff. And so how much free stuff do you have? A lot of people don't like writing their blogs. They don't like sending out their newsletters. It's just kind of tedious to them. They just kind of feel like, I don't want to do it that way. But at the same time, if you write it in a certain way, which Stacy can attest to, it's opening up a conversation. It's having a dialogue with someone. And so I just challenge you to think of your anything that you're putting out in the world, if it's a Periscope recording, if it's a tweet, to a free opt-in, to just a blog or just an email. Everything has to have some sort of thought behind it on how you're serving people, what they're going to benefit from it, and who that person is, making sure you're talking to the right people. And that was just a whole lot, but that's my thought on that.
No, it's helpful because I want people who are watching to get an idea of how the experience works and this is very typical of how we work. So, okay, so you mentioned copy earlier, and Stacy's beautiful face is on the screen. So, Stacy, do you have any thoughts around this?
I, just to mirror what I said originally, which is leave your mark by being super authentic. So in making your list convert, and just be authentic when you're talking to them. So we want to, my thought would be to, obviously this is why masterminding is on the phone, because I close my eyes and I'm thinking we're not on video in our actual mastermind. But would be to, again, talk to them genuinely, and then you're going to mind them. You're going to talk in different areas. So one thing that I work with my clients on is we want to get those lists bigger, right? We want your opt-in to be bigger. We want all of your branding to be consistent. But you talk differently on Twitter. Like then you win on Instagram. And so Lisa sort of said that, where you're casting the big net, but you want the right fish. So it's all in curating in across every platform that you're working on, social media, and your list building, so that we're getting the big fish, the right fish, the fish that want to eat your fish food. This is such a bad...
all the fish.
Because Lisa had said about the net, and so, you know, we want the good fish. So now I'm all fished out. I'm all thinking about fish, but that would be my input.
So here's something interesting, and let's talk about this. So you had mentioned an opt-in, and I don't know, Marcy, if this goes with what you're saying or totally different, so I'll just be quiet and let you talk and jump in.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's also how masterminding works. You kind of just jump in.
That's exactly how it works.
So I'm looking at your question from, like, how can you take action from this? So Lisa and Stacy had, like, really good points about, like, conceptually how that works. But it sounds like you're having a little bit of trouble on, like, I'm just not doing it. Like, I know I should be doing this list building thing, but it's, you know, I'm afraid to expand my market, or I need to expand my market, but oversaturating. So I'm wondering, is it that you, like, should be delegating more and hiring somebody to help you with, you know, expanding to grow your list, or is it more that you just need to buckle down and implement some of what Stacy and Lisa were just talking about?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think there's an answer for both, but when I think honestly, it probably makes more sense to outsource it, because here's the bottom line. I want to be focused with my clients. That's always been the most important thing to me in any job that I do. I want to be spending time with clients, not spending time doing admin stuff. Although I know and believe that it's very, very important. It's important to have a good opt-in that converts, and, you know, a good website and all those other things. But that's not where I want to spend my time. So maybe outsourcing is the answer.
So, and just to, like, kind of piggyback on, like, what Stacy was saying about being authentic and all that, I know just your personality, having worked with you and been on the receiving end of all the good stuff that you send out, like, you also want to have your pulse and your flavor and your personality on whatever you are outsourcing. So I'm not saying that this is necessarily the answer, but something to try on is, like, okay, if I delegate some of those list building efforts, can I, you know, you don't want to completely have someone be your voice necessarily. You may want to feel like you still have a role in it, so you still have that connection with whoever's, you know, receiving it. So,
which is a great point, because I do think that a lot of times what happens is when we outsource, we make an assumption that, oh, I'm making the right decision, but if that person can't mirror our voice, I think it comes across very quickly to your market. People can tell when it's not you.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great point. Anything you want to add? Lisa, I see Lisa raising her hand.
Yeah. I just wanted to point out that you have your 5 and 5s, which if anybody is on the call and hasn't seen Gina's 5 and 5s, you have to check them out. Your 5 and 5 interviews. And my question to you is, well, my guess is that when you're in the off season for the 5 and 5s right now, right? So when you are putting those out, you're seeing a spike in your list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Typically. So do you, and I haven't been to your homepage in a while, but I think when you're in the off season, do you have something else to catch people who go to your website? I don't think you have an alternate kind of opt-in at this time. So so something to catch the people during the off season. So something to create. And I know that you're all about the celebrities, so it's like people need to sign up for your A list or your VIP list, which you might already have. And something that maybe teaches people how to treat their clients like VIPs, or like the celebrities that they want to feel like. So something to catch people during the off season, because I know that you are always so busy with those 5 and 5s that keeps your list growing and that keeps people engaged. But then putting something there during the off season, like I just said 3 times. So yeah.
What she just said was golden for you. That was so good, Lisa, with, like, the A list and how to make your clients feel like celebrities, VIP and celebrity, because that's the experience that you deliver. It really is. So you better write this down. We have to
I know. I thank God it's being recorded. So let me ask you a question, because this is what happens in the mastermind. So are you suggesting having 2 opt-ins, for example? So one when 5 and 5 is running and a different one when it's not, or are you suggesting replacing it?
No, I think just one blanket opt-in, because I think that's all you need. You can always change it in the future. One thing now, and then you're just going to see double the spike once 5 and 5 is live again.
Do we want to mention a couple things too about 5 and 5? There's a lot of people now who are on this big kick of podcasting. Podcasting is really big right now. And one thing, I don't know, Gina, you wanted to dive in on this or not, but like you and I had talked about when we were looking at season 1 of 5 and 5. Do you want to share some of the things that we kind of touched upon when it comes to making sure that the audience you're reaching is the audience you want to reach? Or I didn't know if that was something you wanted to share on this or not.
Yeah, I mean, so let me say this, and then I'm going to let you jump in. So let's wrap up this part, and we'll talk about it. So thank you guys for those suggestions, because that was actually really helpful. It was funny, I didn't know what I was going to talk about, so thanks for being so great about jumping right in. And I am actually going to implement some of those suggestions, so thank you. When we started with 5 and 5, and this does translate into what we were just talking about with the mastermind, but understanding how when you're doing, for example, a podcast, that there has to be a strategy behind everything you choose to do. So whether it's podcast, whether it's your opt-in, whether it's an offering, a lot of people confuse a sales funnel with a sales channel or sales distribution. So there are different components to different sites, and we won't go into it simply because of time. But when Lisa and I first started talking about my 5 and 5 interview series and how to broaden the market so that we could increase viewership, we talked about adding a podcast component to it, where she was able to lift the video and to create the podcast model, but then also getting really clear about who the audience is. Because when I first started doing it, it was I just wanted to do something because I knew I needed to do something, but I wasn't clear on who the market was or the audience was, because that wasn't how I was looking at it at that time. I didn't understand the strategy around podcasting and vlogs until I started researching it, and I mean, quite frankly, because of Lisa. So Lisa, do you want to talk a little bit about that, about like why that's important, and then we'll shift gears again?
Well, actually, just to circle it back to the mastermind is, you and I were able to work on that, and then it was sort of something that, whether it's a person's opt-in in the group, like if you're personally in your business working on something, I know that there's a lot of masterminds where it's not that you're not allowed to talk specifically or to promote yourself in any way, but it's great that you can bring these things to the Facebook community because you welcome that. Like, hey, if you're working on something and you want to share it with the community and get feedback on it, let us know. And I've noticed a lot of times where a lot of people will put something out there like, hey, this is my concept, this is my idea, and the group just responds in asking those questions, making sure, like, are you trying to reach this type of person, or are you trying to reach that type of person? And I love that because getting that right is important, because you might be inadvertently attracting people that aren't your ideal customer, just right, with a couple of words that are wrong, or the shift in something can make all the difference. So I was just mentioning it for that reason, as far as that you can test your stuff as well in the group. I mean, to me, the biggest difference between this mastermind and expensive ones, I have several clients that have done some really expensive masterminds. They were participants in it, and I was a little bit disheartened for them, because after the mastermind was over, that was pretty much it. They didn't really hear a whole lot from the person who ran the show. And no diss on other masterminds, it's just that it made me a little sad. They spent all this investment and this time, and then all of a sudden it was just like, poof, everybody was gone. And I love that we're done, but we're not done. We get to keep going as long as we want. And that's kind of cool, I think. And I think that speaks volumes, too, to the type of people that you bring to the group. Like, the people that you're bringing into your program are the type of people that are like a sisterhood. We got each other's back. So.
Do you mean because we can stay just like I was listening from like the outside perspective. Like, Lisa, were you just talking about how we get to stay and keep going because we get to stay in the Facebook group as alums? Is that what you're referring to?
Well, yeah, I don't think that we touched on that. Like, a lot of people might wonder, well, what happens after this investment's over? What happens when I'm done the actual program? And so I think it's nice to know So,
Could you imagine? I'm like, there's a breakup letter. You get a box with everything, and then we move on.
and one more thing for anybody who's on the fence personally. You know, some people do a lot of the free. There's like some free groups, and you can hook up with free mastermind groups. But the difference between maybe making a small investment and, like Marcy said earlier, it's a very affordable investment. Is that it sort of pushes you, like, hey, I've invested in myself now. I've invested in my business. I need to make sure, like, kind of pushes you to make it happen without, you know, taking out a personal loan and chopping off your leg and turning it in as collateral. So.
Well, and I will say this because I think this is important. When I first started entertaining the thought of a mastermind, I will be very, very upfront. I was not somebody who was an advocate for it. I thought, why do people charge for this? Because people should be able to get the information for free. Because I don't think that, here's one of the things I say, don't ever let money be the reason that stops you from doing what you want in terms of getting the information, the resources to build your business. Because I do think that there are ways to do that where you don't have to break the bank. And that's part of why I set up the mastermind the way that I did. The reason I changed my mind about masterminds was because once I started researching them and understanding really how they worked and the benefit of them, then I could see the value behind it, but also the difference between when people are financially invested and when they're not also makes a difference in the results. Huge difference in the results.
The person who's organizing everything needs to get paid for that. and
now I understand that. But in the beginning, I didn't. It was like, well, you should just be able to give people, you know, like people should be able to have the information that they want. But I do think that one of the things, and this is why I charge for it, is because I do get heavily involved in each person's business, and I want to understand your business. Because I can tell you all kinds of stuff, but if I don't understand your business or your blocks or your business needs, I can't help you get the same results than if I just know that you are a launch strategist or you specialize in launches. I understand what makes you different than other launch strategists because we've talked about it. So that's part of why I charge. But again, it's still important to me that the people who participate in this can do it at an affordable price and really get good, solid, consistent results. So I'm just watching for time. So we're getting close to the hour. So if you do have questions, now's the time to put them in the question box. And I know we've been talking about a lot of stuff, so let me just go back and restate again what the offer is for those of you who are listening and interested or thinking about joining the mastermind. If you join by noon on Friday, noon Pacific time, so 3 o'clock Eastern time, I will be gifting each person who signs up between now and then a private coaching session that you can use either as a 2016 strategy session or as a private 1-hour session between the two of us at any point during the mastermind where you may need that. Occasionally it does come up where people will want to use that time either to do their planning or to set their intentions and get clear on what their goals are for completing the mastermind. And again, the value for that is $500, but I'm adding it as a bonus for people who sign up between now and Friday. So let's do a quick game. Let's do a quick game, and then we'll wrap it up with the final question. So I have a list of things, so I'm going to go kind of round table, so I'll call each one of you out and ask you for your one word. So Marcy, since your face is on the screen, give me one word to describe the program.
Oh, it's so hard. The word that keeps coming up is value, but not in the like cheapo value, like just like it feels like when you go to Nordstrom's, you know that you're paying for something and you're gonna like get like the best possible experience in that. Like, there's really good value for whatever you're doing. And if I had known that question ahead of time, I probably could come up with something better, but that's what's coming up. So
I'm putting you guys on the spot. So, and I saw a question came through, so I'll respond to that in just a second. So one word, Lisa Greer, one word to describe your accountability partner.
Supportive.
Ooh, good. Lisa Fioravante, one word to describe the Facebook group.
Oh. Well, I had a word for the whole mastermind as a whole. Loving. I'm such a cheese ball. Loving. It's so loving, but it is. It's like a sisterhood. The Facebook group. I mean, I'm just gonna say active. I mean, everybody's in there. Not that we're all sitting on Facebook all day, but there's just always somebody there to support you and give feedback. So it's not just like a dead zone. You'll go in there and people will be there to help you.
Okay,
Give
great.
back, answer other people too when they need help.
Yes. Okay, great. Stacy, one word to describe your business before you started the program.
Oh, dwindling, sickly, like it was like a little like Charlie Brown Christmas tree, and now it's a beautiful like Lisa Fioravante Christmas tree.
I was just gonna say, okay, what's one word to describe your business now?
This is why didn't we know this ahead of time? It's strong. It's fun. I had a really good answer for the mastermind, which I would like to say, but I don't have one for my business.
You know how I do. If you've watched 5 and 5, you know how I do this. So let me ask a couple questions because I want to make sure we get to those. So one question was, how do I know if I'll make my investment back? Well, that really depends on you. I mean, quite frankly, I'm going to be really upfront. When I go back and I look at whether it's through the mastermind or private coaching clients, when I go back and I look at, because I do assess what I'm doing in my business, how I'm working with people, how I can be better, how I can strengthen my coaching skills, and constantly looking to be better because then I can offer better services to my clients. But one of the trends that I notice when I'm looking at clients who have not gotten results or have said that they have not gotten results, the underlying issue is always the same thing. And no disrespect to anyone because circumstances are circumstances. But the difference in whether or not you're going to get results is whether or not you do the work. If you do the work and you show up consistently and you're fully committed, you will make money. You will make your investment back and then some. If you show up and you're half in it, you've got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, a couple of things are going to happen. One is you're not going to get results, and 2 is if it starts to affect the rest of the group, you will be asked to leave the program. And I don't mean to sound harsh and difficult, but this is the reason why I do it this way, is because it's really important to me that it's a good, cohesive group of people who are fully committed and are in it for the right reasons. One of the things that I've learned in business over the years is that when you focus on the people who are not necessarily ready, that it takes time away from the people who have shown up and really are ready to do the work. So that's why I'm so kind of black and white about it. If you're in a funk or something's going on or unclear, totally different scenario, and we're going to work through it together.
And you book a session with me.
Yes, and you have Marcy. So here's another question. What if I don't like my accountability partner? Well, that's a great question. I'd be very disappointed if you didn't like your accountability partner, because I do think we have great, great people who show up consistently for each round of the mastermind, but I do understand that sometimes people don't click. So one of the things that has come up as a question in other sessions or other rounds of the mastermind is around that, but also how do you group people together? I spend a lot of time looking at the years in business, where they are academically, not in terms of like you're a graduate, you're not, but also like how much learning there is to do. Because if I put somebody who's been in business, say 5 years, with a bunch of people who've been in business a year, those people who've been in business a year are going to get a great experience. The person who's been in business 5 years, if they don't have attention otherwise and they don't have someone that can meet them where they are, they may not have the same level of experience. So the same thing with accountability partners. I do spend a lot of time making sure that it is the right fit, but if it doesn't work out because of scheduling or it's not the right person, then we will find another way to make it work. That has happened where schedules haven't worked out and we've switched people out and it's worked out fine. Okay, one other question that came up was this is such a good question, I love this. What if I only have an idea and not a business? So a couple of things. One is if you have an idea and you know this is what you want to do and you're looking to get it off the ground, this is the place for you. I can teach you the tools and the tips and the tricks that you need. You've got Marcy, you've got Lisa, you've got the whole Facebook community who will help you get what you need to do to get your business launched. If, again, you're committed to doing the work. If you're someone where you say, okay, well, I have an idea. Well, actually, I have 5 ideas, and I'm not quite sure which one I want to do, so maybe I'll join the mastermind, and then I'll figure it out. That's a lot harder, and here's why. Because if you don't know where you're going, it's hard for us to get you there. And so it's really, really important that you have an idea of where you want to go so that we can create the roadmap to help you get to the destination. That doesn't mean that if you have an idea, it won't change along the way. A lot of people in the mastermind show up with an idea or have a business, and then it changes direction because some clarity comes in. But when the clarity shows up, it allows you to make more money and be more profitable and really create the business that you love. So I ask that people show up open and fluid, so that way we can help you get to that sweet spot of building your business and get some consistency and predictability in your income, because that's a big part of this. I see that we are right at time, so I want to be respectful of people's time. So let's wrap up the last few, or the last 4 of the one words. So I stopped with Stacy about one word to describe your business now. So, oh, I'm totally going to put you on the spot, Fioravante. What's one word to describe the instructor?
The instructor? Amazing. That's you.
Well, that's very sweet.
Just the perfect fit. Like, you're doing exactly what you should be doing. Like, I'm so grateful that you exist and that you've created this.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I've worked with other coaches, consultants. I've been in other programs. Everybody's unique, but I'm very happy with you. I'm very happy.
Well, thank you. Likewise.
Yeah.
Okay, Lisa Greer, one word to describe you as a business owner before the program, and then one after the program.
Before the program would probably be, I'm trying to find a better word than it's not even, unconfident is not a word. What's the word for when you're not confident?
Lacking confidence.
Lacking confidence. Okay, there you go. I'm not good with the words, yo. And now I am more confident, at least in the sense that I know now who I am and I'm comfortable in my skin with it. Like, before, calling myself a producer before was like, it's too weird, and I was too listening to all these people in my head, and then after it's like, you know what, this is what I am. If you don't like it, too bad. I hate it for you.
Right. And then, Marcy, I'm going to ask you the last question, and then we really are going to wrap it up. What's the single most important thing that you want people to take away from this call?
It's funny. So glad that you asked that, because I was like, oh, I wish she would ask me something like that, and then it happened. I think just going back to what I said before is you will not find a mastermind experience out there like this one. And I know every program says that, but having been around the block for a few years now in my business, but the level of care that you give to each and every single person, it does feel like a customized experience. It really does in that group setting. And I say in the group setting, but then there's also like the kind of one-on-one help, as you were saying, you're touching base with everybody, but we can email you, we can tag you in a Facebook post. We have that constant support and access, and that is really priceless. So if you're thinking like, can this work for me? Will this work for me? Am I ready to do this? Like, if you're going to sleep thinking about it and you're waking up thinking, yeah, I really should, but I'm scared, like, you kind of have your answer there. Like, you will make it back. You just have to decide, yes, I'm going to make that investment back. And as you said, many times over. So you said that what's the one thing? I'm sorry. I'm not playing the game because I can't.
No, it's totally fine. It's fine.
Just pick one. There's like if anybody who's watching this wants to, talk with you to join, that you're talking with people, or talk with any of us or other people who've gone through the program, like, we're all here because we want to help other people succeed. That's why we're here and doing it. And yeah. One word.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, so just to echo what Marcy said, if you have questions, if you want to talk to me or if you want to talk to anybody here on the call or any of the other participants in the mastermind, I'm happy to make those introductions. Sometimes it helps to have a participant's point of view versus the person who's facilitating the program, and I completely understand that. So, so if there's something I can do to help you make a decision, don't hesitate to reach out. And again, the offer for the additional private coaching session does end on Friday at noon Pacific time, so 3 o'clock Eastern time. And thank you everyone for being here, for staying till the end. Typically we don't run over in the sessions. We start on time and end on time, so I know we're a little bit over, but I really do appreciate you staying the extra few minutes with us, and I hope to see you in the mastermind. Thanks everyone.